What's the creepiest thing you've ever found hidden in your house? When I was 15, my parents bought this old house that had been sitting empty for years. At first it seemed completely normal, but a few weeks after moving in, I started hearing weird scratching sounds coming from the wall beside my bed. My parents thought it was probably mice, so they set traps and forgot about it. But the noises kept getting louder every night. One night I got so annoyed that I knocked on the wall. The sound instantly stopped. I was about to go back to sleep when 3 seconds later, something knocked back. 3 slow knocks from inside the wall. I barely slept that night. The next morning, I told my dad what happened. He laughed and said I was imagining things. But later that evening, he heard it too. And that's when we decided to open the wall. After hearing the knocking for a second night in a row, my dad finally cut a small hole in the wall. He expected to find a dead animal or maybe some old pipes. Instead, his flashlight hit something metal. Buried inside the wall was a small locked box covered in dust. It looked like it had been sitting there for decades. We brought it to the kitchen and forced it open. Inside were old keys, yellow photographs, and a folded piece of paper. Most of the pictures showed random parts of the house. But then I saw one that made my stomach drop. It was a picture of my bedroom, the exact room I was sleeping in. The weird part was the photo had clearly been taken years before we ever moved in. Then I flipped the photo over and found a handwritten message. The message on the back of the photo only had 5 words written in faded black ink. It said, "Don't let her find it." Nobody knew what it meant. We searched through every picture from the box looking for clues. Most of them were just old photos of the house. But one showed something strange in the basement storage room. There was a section of wall that looked slightly different from the rest. My dad went downstairs to check. At first it looked completely normal. Then he knocked on it. It sounded hollow. A few minutes later we were pulling shelves out of the way and removing old wood panels. Behind them was a hidden door nobody knew existed. And when my dad finally forced it open, cold air came rushing out from inside. Behind the hidden door was a narrow room covered in dust. There was an old desk, a chair, and stacks of boxes that looked untouched for years. Most of the stuff was junk, but inside one box we found several journals and newspaper clippings about a missing woman who disappeared in our town nearly 20 years earlier. The journals seemed to belong to the previous owner of the house. At first they were normal, but the entries slowly became stranger and stranger. The final pages talked about hearing voices and hiding something inside the house. Then I turned to the last page and nearly dropped the journal. The final entry wasn't from 20 years ago. It was dated just 2 days earlier. Nobody in my family could explain it. And that's when my dad decided to call the police. After seeing the journal entry dated only 2 days earlier, my dad called the police immediately. A few officers searched the hidden room and eventually found something none of us expected. Hidden behind another wall was a narrow maintenance tunnel that connected to several old houses in the neighborhood. Someone had been using it for years without anyone noticing. A few days later, police found the person responsible. It wasn't a ghost, a murderer, or anything supernatural. It was a homeless man who had been secretly living inside the tunnel system. The recent journal entries were his. The knocking I heard through the wall was actually him moving around at night. Looking back, the explanation makes sense. But at the time, hearing something knock back from inside my wall was easily the creepiest thing that's ever happened to me.